Welcome back to Beyond the Curve. I got some great and exciting, creepy, mysterious conspiracy videos for you today. Don't forget to hit that like button, share, comment, subscribe. Let's use our minds to open our eyes to see truth in plain sight. Let's expose lies. And let's jump right in.
1 second, everything is normal. The next, millions vanish. No warning, no goodbye. Children disappear from their beds. Cars crash into buildings with no drivers. Planes fall from the sky. Phones ring with no answer. The news is flooded with chaos, confusion, fear. But the real horror has just begun. The restraining force of the Holy Spirit is gone. The church, she's vanished. No more preachers, no more prayer warriors. Just silence. Then comes the deception. The world leaders will lie. They'll offer explanations, alien abduction, energy shifts, mass awakening. And many will believe it. But those left behind, they'll know. They heard the truth, but they ignored it. Now they face what's next, the rise of the Antichrist, one world government, one world religion, forced worship and the mark of the beast. Reject it and you die. Accept it and you're lost forever. The tribulation begins. 7 years of judgment, terror, and wrath. But there is still hope because if you're hearing this now, there's still time to choose. Don't wait for the trumpet. It could sound tonight.
About the rapture can be terrifying to some, but if you have a relationship with Jesus, there's nothing to worry about. The only thing to be afraid of is if you're not taken in the rapture, because then you got to endure for 7 years. But there's still hope if you don't make the rapture. That's the time. That's the time you open your Bible, you talk to Jesus, you get a relationship, and he'll help you get through them 7 years. Well, let's keep going.
They just sacrificed a red heifer in Israel, and most people have no idea what it means. On July 1st, 2025, something happened in Israel that almost no one noticed. A perfect red heifer was sacrificed and burned, just like in the Bible. Why does that matter? According to Numbers 19, a red heifer must be sacrificed to purify the priests before the third temple can be built in Jerusalem. And that temple plays a massive role in end-time prophecy. 2 Thessalonians 2 verse 4 says the Antichrist will sit in the temple and declare himself to be God. Revelation 11 verses 1 to 2 talks about a temple being measured. That's in the Great Tribulation. So when a red heifer is sacrificed, it's not just a religious ritual. It's a countdown. The Temple Institute in Jerusalem has been breeding red heifers in secret with help from Christians in Texas since 2018. And now one of those heifers has been burned in a public ritual, and news sources are calling it a rehearsal for the real thing. There are blueprints ready for the third temple. Even digital temple models using AI exist. And groups are pushing to build it on the Temple Mount, one of the most sensitive sites in the world. Could this be the beginning of the fulfillment of prophecy? The world is watching celebrities and scandals, but Israel is preparing for the return of temple worship. And according to prophecy, the next event could be the revealing of the Antichrist. Don't be distracted. Don't be asleep. Share this with someone who needs to see the signs. The red heifer is real. The third temple is coming, and Jesus is coming soon.
Oh my God! Touch the point! Hey, French! It's a nightmare!
I think we've all felt like that every now and again. I feel like it once or twice a week. The world we live in is crazy.
What if I told you the internet you're using right now isn't real, that it was reset around 2016, and most of what you see now is fake, generated, or controlled? It's called the dead internet theory, and it claims that the real, chaotic, user-driven internet we grew up with quietly died. The turning point? Somewhere between 2015 and 2017. Suddenly, content became repetitive. Search results started favoring the same 10 sources. Comment sections filled with bots. But here's where it gets strange. Some researchers tracked bot activity and found spikes aligning with major political events. Others noticed older websites vanishing. Even pages archived on the Wayback Machine began to disappear. People say we've entered a walled garden, a controlled version of the internet run by algorithms, auto-generated content, and AI-written opinions. You think you're exploring online, but what if it's just a loop of sanitized AI-curated noise? And maybe the real voices were silenced years ago. So ask yourself, is the internet evolving naturally, or have we been locked inside a simulation of it since 2016?
Can you say bot farms? Half the things online are nothing but bots. They help to mold opinions and set trends and turn normal individuals into icons and celebrities and millionaires. Not you or me, though.
On June 14th, 2025, CERN restarted the Large Hadron Collider, but this time something went wrong. Not in the data, in the world, but as they were testing a high-energy particle collision, something no one had ever attempted. To replicate the conditions before time began, they called it the Edge. Less than 48 hours later, people started reporting déjà vu across Europe. Not just feelings, an entire days repeating. Exact conversations, same cloud patterns. People predicting headlines before they dropped. Yeah, but then it got worse. A man in Poland live streamed himself saying, "This isn't my timeline. I died in 2022, I remember it." The stream was deleted within 3 minutes. His account disappeared, and so did he. As major cities experienced temporary time slips, security footage caught pedestrians freezing mid-step, planes hovering in place with no engine sound. One child in Argentina aged 3 years overnight. His parents didn't even notice until his clothes didn't fit. CERN denied everything. They said it was online misinformation. But one of their own scientists, whistleblower-level clearance, leaked a single phrase to the press before vanishing. Time didn't break. It folded. We didn't open a black hole. We opened a mirror. Now people are finding things that don't belong. Old photos with unfamiliar faces. Birthmarks that weren't there last week. Apps on their phone they've never downloaded, but can't delete. Wait, and one question keeps coming up again and again in private forums. If this isn't the same reality I started in, then what happened to the real me? And is it still out there?
Back to Reptilian News Network, where reality is technically still in beta. Today we bring you the Earth Simulation 2025 patch notes. Fresh from the Intergalactic Development Team. Let's see how we're improving the human experience this quarter. Fixed bug where billionaires believe themselves to be relatable. Reduced TikTok attention span from 7 seconds to 0.3 for optimization. Increased frequency of micro-influencers by 400%. Nobody asked, it just happened. Removed common sense from global inventory. Replaced with hot takes. We also addressed a major issue where humans were attempting to manifest reality using mood boards. They were dangerously close to unlocking 4D printing through Pinterest. Nerfed empathy in online comment sections, buffed conspiracy theorists, accidentally, added 17 new crypto scams labeled as passive income, fixed GPS voice occasionally shouting, "Turn around, this isn't worth it," and upgraded pigeons from 1080p to 4K surveillance. Upcoming features in 2025.4 include AI girlfriends with more sarcasm settings and emotional support jetpacks.
We also reintroduced Darwin mode in certain regions. It's a legacy feature, but popular.
And the long-awaited return of dinosaurs. Probably a bad idea. So that's the update. If your human starts glitching, just do what we do. Clear the cache, turn it off, and go underground. We'll see you next patch. Hail Scale Zog!
And that's really what your news team looks like right there, people. And they really do tell you the truth in between the lies if you pay attention.
You know what your problem is? You see things too clearly. You notice patterns before they unfold, read between the lines when no one else does. You pick up on the shift in someone's tone, the hesitation in their words, the way their energy changes. And because of that, you can't just exist. You analyze, you overthink, you try to make sense of things that were never meant to be understood. And the irony, you feel alone in a crowded room because no one else seems to see what you do. But self-awareness isn't a burden, it's a power. It teaches you who to trust, what to avoid, and when to walk away. The world may not always understand you, but that doesn't mean you're wrong. Keep seeing clearly. Keep knowing yourself. Just don't let the weight of your awareness keep you from living.
Some people have no awareness whatsoever.
The seer is the one who sees. Mysterious and misunderstood. You know they have powers. They see the past, present, and future. The gift is not to be used recklessly. It must be used for divine purposes only.
Officials in 2 Latin American countries alerted the WHO of several outbreaks of a new infectious disease that's mysteriously appearing across the region, severe epidemic enterovirus respiratory syndrome 2025. Over the past 6 weeks alone, there have been 500 confirmed or suspected cases reported. The virus could cause a severe pandemic if early containment and mitigation efforts are not successful.
The pandemic in this type of situation and trend would be a risk for the global health security.
Pandemics are inherently political, financial, and so much broader.
We have not spoken on the leadership in country. And I think that we need to be also very careful. We cannot decide a lot of things without the leaders be involved and agree on that.
There is no substitute for national leadership.
It's important to support the local response or the national response.
Training those that are in these areas first, enabling them with the tools, protecting them, and if needs be, regional solidarity first.
At this stage, communication is key, and communication should include not just scientists with data, but also social, religious, and political leaders.
Trust. This is an essential issue. And trust was broken among countries, between populations and healthcare systems, between healthcare systems and governments.
I'm very sorry to say that in 2025, we need to strengthen the health system.
WHO needs to be a voice for the voiceless.
No one is safe until all of us are safe.
As of today, there have been an estimated 1 billion cases worldwide, with more than 20 million deaths, including nearly 15 million children. Countless millions are alive but left with paralysis or brain damage. The most successful countries are those which invested in preparedness and trained for this moment years in advance. This included having full-time pandemic preparedness and response teams, which conducted detailed operational planning and routinely tested those plans through exercises and drills. If more countries had participated and heeded the guidance, the toll might have been much less.
If you ask me, pandemics aren't real. It's just another way to scare people. I don't think this last pandemic we had was a pandemic. I think most people got sick and or killed from the vaccine itself and from being locked in their homes and losing their businesses or jobs, and it was very crazy.
Here can tell me what this is?
$1.
A dollar of what? A dollar is a unit of measurement. If I say to you, give me a pound, what would you say?
A pound of what?
I say, give me a gallon.
Of what?
So I say, give me $1.
Of what?
It's a unit of measurement, 371.25 grains of 0.905 silver. There is no money, silver and gold.
Well, they call it lawful money.
Oh, no, they call it legal tender. But it's not based on anything. It's made up. It's fiction. How many of you have heard of fractional reserve banking? Now, for every dollar that you give to the bank, how many would you say they give out in loans? 9. For every $1, they turn around and loan it out 9 more times. That is called fractionalization. So the whole thing is made up. It's all just numbers on a ledger, and when it all comes collapsing down, who do you think they expect to come around and clean up the mess? But what I'm saying is, hang on a second, not so fast. You want what now? You want a bailout?
Right.
You want my tax dollars? You want my home? You want my home. Okay then, fine. Take the damn house. I don't want it anyway. Where do I sign? You want me to wash the windows before I leave? But then what I want to know is this. Where's my money? Where's my promissory note? Where's all the money you made as the result of the fractionalization of that promissory note when you reloaned it out over and over, 9 times for me, 22 times in total? Where's all that? What's that? Oh no. You don't want me to leave? Okay then, thank you very much. I will keep the house. Have a nice day, folks.
CIA ran secret brothels in America? Sounds insane, right? But it's real. In the 1950s and 60s, the CIA launched Operation Midnight Climax, a twisted offshoot of MKUltra. San Francisco, LSD, hidden cameras agents set up fake CIA-run brothels in San Francisco and New York. They hired prostitutes to lure men in, then secretly drugged them with LSD without their knowledge. Mind control and manipulation. Behind two-way mirrors, CIA operatives watched how the men behaved, testing truth serums, mind control, and sexual blackmail tactics. No consent, no ethics, no oversight. Just how far did they go? The agents drank on the job, took notes while high, and turned the whole thing into a psychological circus. The worst part, most of the victims never knew it happened. Exposed, but never punished. The program was exposed in the 1970s during the MK Ultra hearings. But like much of MK Ultra, the files were destroyed. No arrests, no justice. If Operation Midnight Climax shocked you, just wait till you hear about Project Artichoke. Follow for more secret government conspiracies and U.S. history.
Operation Midnight Climax was kept relatively secret up until the mid-1970s. In cities such as San Francisco, California, and New York City, CIA-funded safe houses were built for one specific reason: prostitution. Well, not exactly that, but prostitutes did have a large role in this operation. These safe houses were often hotel rooms, but not just any normal hotel room. They would be equipped with one-way mirrors so that a person on the outside could see through it, but anyone inside couldn't see out. The CIA would often pay prostitutes in these cities a good bit of cash to bring men back to these hotel rooms, so they could be observed. But not normally. After these women would bring men back to the safe house, they would prepare drinks for them. But the women would slyly put LSD in the men's drinks. For hours on end, CIA agents would sit behind these one-way mirrors and observe how the LSD affected these various men, and what kind of information could be extracted from them. These men were never informed or told that they would be taking part in these experiments. There were no doctors present at any of these encounters, just CIA employees sitting back and watching. For the CIA, there's no downside here. They would often pay these prostitutes large sums of money, enough to keep their mouths shut and out of trouble, so no problems would arise there. The men lured back to these hotels were also unlikely to speak out against the things that occurred, and would never know that the CIA was even involved. What are the odds of one of them going to a news outlet, claiming that the CIA drugged them with LSD, and then forced them to follow a prostitute back to a hotel room? Practically zero. It didn't end there. The operation soon expanded, and the CIA began to reach out and dose people in restaurants, bars, and even beaches, all of which took place on American citizens who didn't even have the slightest bit of knowledge that they were being experimented on by their own government.
Have you heard of the Charles Manson CIA theory? Before his cult members committed those horrible crimes we all know about, Manson had a parole officer by the name of Roger Smith. Now, Roger also happened to work at the Haight-Ashbury Free Medical Clinic in San Francisco, where coincidentally the CIA may have been running a covert program dubbed Operation Midnight Climax, where they gave drugs such as LSD and methamphetamines to unknowing subjects to study the effects of mind control. After his parole officer allowed him to move from Berkeley, California to San Francisco, Charles Manson would frequently visit this Haight-Ashbury Free Medical Clinic to meet with his parole officer frequently in the year 1968, just 1 year prior to his cult carrying out those horrible crimes. And it was during this time while he visited the clinic that he began to attract his first followers, who would later become known as the Manson family. While there is no definitive proof of this, there are some theories that Manson was being experimented on with some mind-altering drugs, which could have been part of the reason that he ended up going crazy and leading his cult to commit those horrible crimes. So was this possibly a CIA experiment gone horribly wrong? Or was it just another conspiracy theory?
Born in the year 19...
What are the odds all these serial killers were created?
1915, was not a scientist by profession, but rather a successful radio executive. Yet his name has become synonymous with some of the most groundbreaking discoveries in the exploration of human consciousness. Through unexpected and profound personal experiences, Monroe began a journey that would not only alter his own understanding of existence, but would go on to impact thousands across the globe through his research, books, and the founding of the Monroe Institute. One of the most compelling aspects of Monroe's life's work lies in his accounts of the non-physical world, particularly his discovery that the Earth is surrounded by multiple energetic bands where consciousness gathers after the transition from physical life. It all began in the year 1958, when Monroe experienced a spontaneous out-of-body episode. He felt powerful vibrations coursing through his body and then found himself outside of it. observing from a different perspective. What started as a terrifying event eventually became a doorway to a lifetime of exploration. Rather than suppress these experiences, Monroe leaned into them, eventually developing controlled techniques for achieving what he called out-of-body experiences. His lifelong research, documented in books such as Journeys Out of the Body, Far Journeys, and Ultimate Journey, has continued to inspire researchers, spiritual seekers, and institutions alike, including a relationship with the Central Intelligence Agency, which took interest in Monroe's techniques for expanding consciousness through non-ordinary means. Central to Monroe's later explorations was the discovery of what he termed bands, or energetic zones that exist around the Earth. These bands, according to Monroe, serve as zones where human consciousness collects after the physical body is no longer inhabited. The bands are shaped by an individual's level of consciousness, beliefs, and personal resonance. What makes these findings so compelling is that these levels not only determine the individual's experience after passing on, but also shed light on the evolution of consciousness as a whole. The first band is perhaps the most chaotic. It is a place Monroe described as a turbulent region filled with dense and discordant energies. Beings in this zone are often unaware they are no longer in their physical bodies. Many attempt to continue their routines as if they are still alive, interacting with the physical world to no avail. Others seem stuck in an unconscious limbo, existing in a kind of stasis. Monroe viewed this band as a place of confusion, where thoughts are scattered and purpose is often absent. Within this first band, there are several subgroups. One group contains those who have left their bodies but remain emotionally and mentally tied to the physical world. They may not even realize their transition. Another subgroup includes those in active out-of-body states who have momentarily left their physical form but are expected to return. From a higher perspective, Monroe noted that these beings seemed to simply vanish mid-action as they re-entered their physical form. The first band, then, appears to...
That was very interesting, but that's where the video ended. I hate videos like that, and I can't find a part 2.
This is the firmament is real, or 100% proof that the firmament is real. I actually put this proof in several of my first videos, but a lot of people didn't really catch that that was what was in there. So it was also in my Flat Earth Fully Explained video, which many times has been blocked worldwide and pulled from the internet. What this information is, first we'll start with the information about high altitude lightning and how scientists admit that it's the very top of the atmosphere and that it's created, that lightning and sprites and high altitude lightning and sprites and elves are created on the other side of the dome. And it's in a National Geographic piece. I'll link it here. Every time I've used any clips from that piece, they have heavily copyrighted it and removed it from YouTube, so I can't post using that. So you saw that these guys, the Flat Earth Bros, they saw it in my movie, I think, and then they went and made a piece about it. And then they went and made another piece about it here as well. You can see it was originally in my Heaven and Earth, and also the Flat Earth Fully Explained video, which had the actual full National Geographic piece in it, where they discuss that it's the top of the atmosphere and that they can't get to the other side of it to confirm their findings. So it's another admission that we can't make it to space. So after that, though, there's this amazing proof, and I hate to use other people's information, but I think it's worthwhile here. This is Rob Skiba, who does amazing work. You guys know him. He's amazing. So you'll see these CIA documents that were approved for release in 2000. And you'll see that this is actually the Scientific Council of the Institute of Physics of the Earth in the USSR, and that they argued for these findings at the geophysical year. It's about light scattering in the high atmosphere, so some properties of atmospheric Indicatrices of Light Scattering by Payaskovskaya. Pasenkiba, the Astrophysics Institute, the Academy of Sciences in Kazakhstan, the USSR. This is done in 1957, but it shows you that even at that time the Russians knew there was a firmament. Determining the coefficient of atmospheric transparency from sky brightness.
Well, there you go. CIA documents confirm there's a firmament above your head. The earth is flat. God is real. Dinosaurs are fake. I hope you enjoyed the mix of conspiracies today. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one, peeps.